I'm going to be canning these peaches today, finally. They've been in my refrigerator, honestly, for almost 3 weeks. So I washed them when I brought them home, and I made sure that they were dry completely. So I washed them with the vinegar wash, and then when I was drying them, I made sure to lay them down so the stem side was down, and that way no moisture collected in that middle part while they were drying. So then they've been in the refrigerator just like this. Tomorrow will be 21 days. So anyways, so I am going to finally can these. I finally have a day that I can do this today, and it's not a million degrees in here, it feels like. So how I'm going to start this is I'm going to just make a little X on the bottom, and then I'm going to blanch them in water, in boiling water, for about a minute. So I will let you come along with me as I do this. I have some peaches. Look, it still has the little green leaves on it. I think it's adorable. I cannot wait any longer for these peaches. I actually got them 3 weeks ago. And when I brought them home from the farmer's market, I washed them, and then they've been in the fridge. In this basket. People always ask me about the basket. I got the basket at Marshall's. You can see them once in a while, but we don't have the exact links for them, but aren't they pretty? Anyways, I was debating whether or not I was just going to throw them in the freezer and do frozen peaches this year, which I think I had done last year. I did some of them last year. I still have some in the freezer. Let's see. So these are some that I froze that were in the freezer from last year. There's just a couple that are left, and I can use these straight into like making desserts, or I also use them for our smoothies and different things. So they are just frozen. Normally I will freeze them on a sheet. If I have any peaches left today, I might do that after I fill up my canner. But I freeze them on a sheet, and I flash freeze them for overnight or a couple hours until they're hard, and then I put them in the bags after that. And these are in food saver bags that were vacuum sealed, so they're totally no frostbite or anything, and these are from last summer. So I probably have at least another year to eat these, which we'll try to eat up before this summer, for the next year. Anyway, so 2 years in the packages in the freezer, but I want these to be shelf stable, so I'm going to can these. With peaches, they're a fruit, so they only have to be water bath canned. So if you see my large water bath canner back here, that is what my jars are in. So they are going to get in there and boil. So they're going to boil, well, while I'm doing this, but for at least 10 minutes. They might end up boiling longer. And I am going to use this other pan, but you don't have to have this one. You can use any pan, but this one I find is nice because it has the basket that the water drains out of. So I'm going to put boiling water in here, and I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to make X's on the bottom of the peaches and then put them in the water for 1 minute to just blanch them. And then I have this big, this is called a spider. So I have this really large spider, and I'm going to use that to lift the peaches out of here, and then it's going to go directly into ice water and to cool down, because I don't want to cook the peaches necessarily. I'm just trying to get the skins off. So to blanch them like this is the easiest way to do that. And then when you're buying your peaches, make sure to look for ones that are called free stones. You do not want clingstone peaches. You want free stone peaches, and they are just exactly what they sound like. When I go to open them up, that pit is going to just pop right out. So a clingstone means you have to take the spoon and really scrape it out, and it's really a lot harder. So if you're getting peaches, really make sure that you're getting the free stone. They will say it on there, so if not, ask. And make sure if it doesn't say free stone, it's probably clingstone, and that's why they're not advertising it. So look for the free stone ones. Just know the clingstone, if you do have them or have a tree that are clingstone, they just are a lot more work. Anyways, my first part of this process is just to remove the skins, and I'm going to quarter these, and then we'll start putting them in the jars. I have the one pot going on here that has hot water in it that I'm going to be putting the fruit in. And then I have my large water bath canner here that has 7 jars in it, 7 quart-sized jars in it. And these are boiling and sterilizing. So this was my cute one with the little leaf on it that I thought was adorable, but I'm going to take that off now. But I'm just going to take a paring knife, and at the bottom here, I'm just going to lightly score it little X at the bottom. So if you want to, you can also take the line that has the little crack in it. You can also just go all the way through if you want to. Depends on if you want them in halves or quarters. So I didn't realize that they weren't striped. So I'm just going to cut them in half like that, and then I'll be putting them in the water. But I'm going to get like 4 together before I do that, and I'm going to put them in the water, and then I'll set the timer for 1 minute. And while I do that, I'm going to run and grab some ice real quick and get ice cold water in the spool. So I do want to use the spider when I'm setting it down in the pot. This is the spider, so it doesn't splash. I don't want to just drop it and plop it. So this is spider. It's on our Amazon storefront too, which is nice. It's like so big. So I don't think about what I'm doing until I start to do it. I am going to cut just around the crack all the way around, and then make a little X at the bottom. So if it was just tomatoes, I just make the X at the bottom, but with these, I made the X, but then I went all the way around the peach crack. I think I'm gonna do about 4 at a time. Okay, I just need this water to heat, and then as soon as I have a free burner, then I'm going to make the simple syrup, which I might make with monk fruit. So the monk fruit and the normal sugar is the same 1-to-1 ratio. So I follow the directions in the ball candy guide. That's what you should do too for how much sugar and water that you put into your jars. But I might here at my house use monk fruit instead of sugar. So do what you want to do. So again, these are the peaches. This is just a little tiny one, so I'm just gonna throw this one in there too. All right. So my water is getting ready to boil here. I'm just going to set these in gently and then set a timer for 1 minute and go get some ice. All right, we'll bring you back in a minute. Strip that everywhere on the floor. Those are the jars. Okay, the peaches were in the boiling water for a minute, and then they've been in this bowl of ice water, and it cooled down a little bit, and I wanted to show you how easy this is. It just peels right off, just like that, and then you can always take a paring knife if you need to and get any other little bits. So I'm going to divide these into quarters and then throw them into a saucepan. The air conditioning's going because it like went up 20 degrees in here since I started this. So I'm going to add 1 1/4 cups of sugar into my pan to make the light syrup, and then 5 cups of water. So 1 1/4 cups, and then I'll add 5 cups of water, and then I'll just let it warm up a little bit so it will melt. And then as I'm dropping the peaches in there, that way they're not going to turn brown either. Okay, I peeled my peaches, and then I put them in the pan with the syrup in it, which that's what you call the water and the sugar, while I was peeling them. And then I put them into a jar with the funnel. There's the funnel, so I use the funnel to fill up the jar. Here's the jar. So this is going to go into the canner with the other jars, super hot. And then I'm going to boil those. So anyways, those are our peaches, and I'm going to bring that to boil for 25 minutes. There's more than an inch of water over the top of the jars so that they will seal. They'll be in there for 25 minutes, then I'll turn the heat off and let them cool down a little bit. And then they go onto my counter overnight, and I let them sit with the rings on overnight, and then I will end up washing the jars off and taking the rings off. So when I store them in my cupboard, they don't have any rings. I was just going to grab something that was here to show you. So I store them in the cabinet. They don't have the rings on them, so you don't get a false seal. So anyways, follow the instructions on the blog for how to can this start to finish, but this is what we were working on today to preserve the harvest and make it shelf stable.